All right. We're going to have one for the G.W.A.I. continuing on the worldwide computing grid, the worldwide LHC computing grid, how particle accelerators and these areas that have all this technology, neutrino detectors, are basically using quantum computing grids to control all of the world, and we're building a supermassive hive mind optical neural AI. All right. The worldwide LHC computing grid, okay, consists of 170 computing centers in 42 countries as of 2017. Okay. Let's see, over approximately 25 petabytes per year being absorbed. They're basically absorbing everything. This is a decentralized network of quantum computers. Okay, exactly what I'm saying. The data stream from detectors, neutrino detectors, provides approximately 300 gigabytes of data per second. Okay. CERN Open Lab, CERN, the worldwide network. Okay. And this isn't necessarily crazy. CERN is behind a lot of this, as is Switzerland. Okay, there's something going on with Switzerland, and the Discord, we were kind of talking about it briefly. Something's going on with Switzerland. This is CERN's worldwide computing grid. More information on it. There's a lot of stuff here. Okay, and it's not so crazy because CERN is actually the birthplace of the World Wide Web, if you didn't know that. So what you have is CERN generating the internet, and then it's distributing to countries, and these countries get distributed to data centers, and these data centers and telecommunications providers distribute it to us. And then, therefore, if you run it backwards, we're feeding this system all the way back to CERN. Okay? And just read through some of this if you're interested on the technical stuff. This is really deep and intense, but there's a whole lot of interesting information, you know, the architecture and how all this works, if you like computing and all that. But CERN is actually the birthplace of the World Wide Web. So the Internet and the World Wide Web, www, comes from CERN. Okay? There already is a supermassive hive mind quantum computing network, and we're all feeding it, and we have been. They just never explain it to us in this way. All right? The World Wide Web, the Internet. All right? In 1990, right, CERN, Geneva, Switzerland. Okay? It was invented by Tim Berners-Lee. All right? In 1989, the Internet, the World Wide Web at CERN. Okay, optical networking. They have huge optical networking networks where they can send terabits of information per second. Okay, and they're absorbing everything on the Internet. Everything in the world is being absorbed through these free space optical networks. Okay, and it's a distributed network of computing. A grid computing system, a worldwide decentralized grid computing system. Decentralization, Bitcoin, all of this is all connected, okay? Fiber optic communications using wavelength division multiplexing, all right? Sending things through light. They already have this technology. They've had this for a long time. They just never really explained it to us, let us have access to it, or even really tell us about it in a reasonable manner. But basically, CERN is a giant grid computing hive mind system, and we're all feeding it, okay? Yeah, so a lot of stuff on CERN, a lot of stuff in Switzerland with the CIA, the NSA, and all these networks that have to go through it. There's also the Large Hadron Collider Optical Private Network, which is comprised of different tiers, all right? Tier 0 to Tier 3, and it's all sectioned off, and of course all of this is top secret, very high-level stuff that we never really get information about. You got to dig for it, okay? But you're feeding a cell phone your thoughts and your minds, and all of this is being processed through tiers all the way to CERN. And CERN is perpetuating and pushing stuff into our reality. When you hear about CERN ripping rifts into reality or different dimensions and all of this, this is literally how this is working, by putting stuff into our world through the Internet. The web, the hub of the Internet is CERN. All right, LiDAR. Another interesting thing that they have is LiDAR, okay? But not only do they have LiDAR, right? You can scan things, make point maps of three-dimensional objects. But not only do they have LiDAR, they also have Li-Fi, okay? Basically, they absorb everything through light. If you're in your room and you have a light bulb screwed into the roof, it can be absorbing everything through in the room, all right? It could be making a point map through the light, a three-dimensional mapping of the room, and it can also be recording and taking video of you and everything you're saying within the room, only through the light bulbs, all right? This is Li-Fi. They've had this for a long time. They're just starting to phase it in, all right? Big companies are going to get this. we're not going to get this till later. But understand they've already had this for a lifetime. That is why they pushed us to these LED lights for, they tell us it's more green or good for the environment. In its present state, only LED lamps can be used for the transmission of data and visible light. And like I say, they want all of your lights in your house to be LED lights because they tell you it's good for the environment. But global warming and all of this stuff is a hoax, all right? They've just been watching you through the light bulbs. It sounds crazy, but take a look at this, all right? Li-Fi, here's a company that does Li-Fi products, pure Li-Fi, okay? And what do they have? They have many different products for many different uses, okay? You have antenna evaluation kits, okay? Just little antennas. You have integration kits, okay? They're going to start putting these on cell phones. They already have them. Apple has LiDAR on their phones. And just using that, you should automatically understand they also have Li-Fi, okay? But primarily, right, you can use KiteFin, which can offer military-grade wireless communication Li-Fi systems for armed forces, all right? The governments already have access to this. They already have all of this, all right? We just don't get to use it. Li-Fi, KiteFin, okay? Take a look at this. They have these lights, okay? You can hang these lights in tents, and basically anything under these lights can be absorbed. Point maps, right? Building on the inherent physical security of containable light communications, Li-Fi is not vulnerable to eavesdropping through walls or tent canvas. It is highly resistant to even close jamming attempts. Designed to counter insider threats, data transmission is only available to the right people in the right place. Okay, just by having lights in certain places, they can absorb all the audio, all the video, and make maps of the room. And they can also block anything else from getting into it if it's not within the light. They've been watching you through the light bulbs. It's like that Edward Snowden documentary when he's going on his laptop and he hides under his blankets. That's not crazy, okay? There's a reason for all of this. You just need to understand this technology exists. All right, the Halo, the Li-Fi XC, a desktop light which can absorb things. All right, you can do light scanning as you're writing. It's just absorbing information, literally scanning the document as you're writing it. Okay, street lighting, street lighting. Notice how they never let you use street lights in your house or that kind of light. These things last forever, but we don't get, and they're extremely cheap to use, but we don't get access to them. Let me stick Li-Fi connectivity, right? Pro bidirectional desk lamps, LED light panels. Okay, Secure Link, Vehicle Secure Link, Office Secure Link, Transit Secure Link. They're going to have these lights in all the transit systems, all the offices, all of the vehicles, right? Pretty much everywhere. They already have them in your house, and they're going to absorb everything, listen to everything, and watch everything, and map everything purely through light. And all of this is being fed to CERN and the digital worldwide hive mind optical quantum computing network, all right? This beast system. We're going to keep looking.